Pavla, Vice Chancellor, Sikkim Manipal University, hereby declare the convocation open. A very good afternoon to all of you, Professor Basu, Mr. Sivaramakrishnan, General Bakshi, other members of the Manipal group, students and parents. It is a proud privilege for me to be present here to talk to you all. I do not get much opportunity to meet the students of our distance education wing because they are spread not only all over the country but also in many parts of the world. So it is a very rare and special day for me that I am meeting the students graduating from our distance education wing. Any problem somewhere? I shall talk a little about the Manipal group, then the Sikkim Manipal University, and then the distance education wing from which you are graduating. I will start by congratulating all the students who are graduating today from the SMU DE wing. The Sikkim Manipal group came into education in the year 1942 with Dr. T.M.A. Pai starting an Academy of General Education in Udupi, in Manipal, in Karnataka. 1942, India was not independent. That is when this great man decided that there is something required to be done for education in the country. There was dearth of professional colleges in the country. Every state had one, maybe two colleges in engineering, and many states did not have a medical college. So that was the state of professional education in the country. And that is when Dr. T.M.A. Pai thought of starting medical and engineering education in the private sector, self-financing colleges for people who could afford but were not able to get into professional colleges. In 1953, he started a self-financing medical college for MBBS in Manipal. In 1957, he started an engineering college, again self-financing. And I am always, when I think of him and what he did, I am always surprised how did he get around the system to get permission to start professional colleges in a private manner. Even today, it's very difficult for somebody to get all the permissions from the government authorities for starting colleges because private players in education are not very well respected, unfortunately, in this country. They are always viewed with suspicion, in spite of the fact that many private universities are doing much better than the government universities. I am not saying that there are no good universities in the government sector. There are many. In West Bengal itself, we have a number of shining examples of good government universities. But the numbers are limited when we look at the whole country. Out of the 400 government universities, in the government language itself, not more than 10 to 15 are good, out of 400. In the private sector, we have some 40 odd universities, and the number of better ones out of that 40 is larger than that we have in the. We will leave out the IITs and IIMs. They are good, they are world class, there is no doubt. But when we come to the rest of it, the private players are doing a very reasonably good job. Most of them are into education for good reasons. They want to look after the youth of this country. They want to provide opportunity. Out of the 13, 14 crore children in the age group of 18 to 24 years who should be going to college, only 1.2 crores are going to college. For various reasons, and one major reason is that the country does not have the infrastructure for educating our youth. Many of them are not able to go to college because the college is not available. Some of them are not able to go to college because either they cannot afford or they have to look after a family, so they have to take up a job. And distance education becomes relevant and important for that category of children who have to take up a job at a very young age to support their family. So all options should not get closed for them. It is for this reason the Manipal group, I was talking about GMFI starting Manipal education, it has grown very large and very good. It has 3 universities at present and more are coming up. The main universities in Manipal, they called the Manipal University, earlier it was called MAHE, Manipal Academy of Higher Education. The second university is in Gangtok, where you all belong. The distance education wing, the university itself was incorporated through the Sikkim State Assembly in 1995. The distance education wing came up somewhere around 2000-2001. So you are about 10 years old, your distance education wing of the Sikkim Manipal University. And the Manipal group have about 10 campuses in India and abroad. We have presence in Manipal, in Bangalore, in Goa, in Sikkim. And outside the country, we have presence in Nepal, we have in Malaysia, in Dubai, in Antigua, where we have a third small university. So that is the group you belong to. And all of us need to be proud that we belong to this group. I am proud as a teacher, and you all need to be proud because you are graduating from one of the finest organizations in education in the country. Now I'll come to the distance education part. Because you are graduating from the distance education wing does not mean that you are inferior to anybody who's passed out through the regular college. There is a difference. There is a difference in studying in a regular college and studying through the distance education wing. The reason I just stated that some of you are not able to go to college because colleges are not there in the country, or some of us are not able to afford, we have to take up a job. So then distance education is the option. The 2 degrees we should not try to compare because the college environment is different. You learn more than the academics in a college campus. But having said that, the degrees are different, but they are not one better and the other inferior. They have their own places in your requirements for the requirements of the society. Both distance education and regular degrees are important. In India, as I said, we do not have the infrastructure to teach everyone in the classroom, all our children. So we have to find another way of making education accessible for each one of you. Distance education is here to stay. This country cannot do without distance education. The only thing we can do is improve it from where it is and bring it on par with the classroom teaching. There are certain things which cannot be provided through distance education. That is, one is the interaction between students. That is also a great learning. You meet friends from all parts of the country and world when you go to a classroom. So that part is missing. Otherwise, many of you study better than the regular students. You are much more dedicated. That is why, along with the job or not being able to go to college, you are studying further. You are improving yourself. There is just no shortcut to education if you want to grow in your life, in your career. So education is something which is essential for us to, whether we want to do business or we want to take up a job, especially for jobs. And that too in India. You can belong, you may come from any type of family, any background, but if you have a good degree, you are equivalent to everybody else. I was talking about the distance education degrees. I would like all of you to know that the Government of India in 1995 has issued a notification notifying that degrees received by students through distance education are on par with degrees received through regular classroom teaching as far as jobs, government jobs in the country go. we will put this notification on our website. So kindly download and keep it along with the certificate, because I get these queries from students asking me whether their degrees are equivalent to regular degrees. So please note, your degrees are equivalent and nobody can refuse you a job because you have studied through distance education. The government of India says so, not me. There is a notification, we will put it on the website, kindly download. Also for your further education, those queries also I get. Whether having done your post-graduation through distance education, you can go for your PhD. Now, also please note this. You are on par with everybody else as far as registration for higher degrees is concerned. If you've done your graduation, you are eligible to join anywhere in any university for your post-graduation. If you've done your post-graduation, you are eligible for joining for your PhD. So do not get a degree and stop. That's not the end. Go for your next degree, and the next till you reach the PhD level. That will help. I have done that. I joined the army when I was not even a graduate. So, while serving, I went in for my engineering, for MTech, for my PhD. Then I had the courage to leave the army at the beginning and come to academics. It is that PhD that gave me that confidence that you leave a good job in the army and come to academics. Not that this is not a good job, this is much, much superior, much better. I am much more satisfied doing what I am doing now compared to the 30 years that I spent in the army. So do not stop your education with this degree. I will be happy to see all of you going for your postgraduate and PhD degrees, and that will help. This country has a dearth of qualified people. Colleges are going without teachers. We have to make compromises. We are not getting people with PhDs in almost all the disciplines we are short. So go for your PhD, there will be automatically jobs waiting for you. And it doesn't take much. There are so many people who in SMU registered for PhD who have done their degrees, postgraduate degrees through distance education, both from SMU and other universities. So that is the second part. Remove it from your minds. There are a lot of students coming to me asking me whether they are eligible for registering for higher degrees. Registering for regular courses. Some of you even feel that if you've done one degree through distance education, now you cannot go to a college for your next degree. That's not the case. You are on par. I am especially happy and privileged to be talking to these people who are, in spite of having been unable to go to a regular college, have not given up. You are my kind of people. You have decided to take your destiny in your own hands, and you have decided to improve yourself, qualify yourself, and strive for, everybody strive. That's a right for all of us to strive for a better job and growth in our career. And this is a step that you have taken in the right direction. It will help you, it will not go waste. Even if you continue to be in the job where you are, you will do that job better with a higher qualification, with more knowledge. So don't stop your pursuit of knowledge, continue with it. There is no age limit for education. I have people who are doing PhDs and they are beyond 60 years of age. They are not looking for a job. They are just satisfying themselves that I can also do PhD. Okay. Fortunately, in academics, the retirement ages are much higher. A professor in a university retires at 65 years. He can be re-employed till 70 years. I have many people working in the university who have retired from their own careers in their own chosen fields, and now they are into academics because there they can work up to 65 or 70 years. Vice chancellors retire at 70 years now. That's the new rule since last year. So you can work much